A disappointing final for Coco Gauff for sure, but we do need to remember she's just 18 years of age. She's been around for a while. She made her breakthrough about 3 years ago at Wimbledon.
You'd expect her to be in her 20s by now, but no, she was a kid.
As a teenage sensation, the age of 16, so she's only 18 now. That's okay for her first Grand Slam final. Disappointing performance there, and of course Iga Swiatek is just blowing through the field these days. There's just no competition to the pole in the women's tour.
She's won many consecutive matches at this point. She's entering discussion with some of these all-time greats, at least by the numbers. Not yet there, but okay.
Yes, and some would argue that the situation right now is much easier for that of Serena Williams, say 15 years ago, when she made most of her records, because there is a lot to say about the competitiveness, perhaps, of the women's tour. I'll give you a number that would emphasize that. Out of the past 10 Grand Slams in the women's tour, we saw only 5 matches between top 10 players. Just shows you how much
Gauff was ranked 18
we're missing the competitiveness there. Just to compare, in the men's side, we saw a lot more, I think about 35 matches between top 10 players. So you see the consistency on the men's tour. Well, that's lacking in the women's tour. And of course, this was very different just 15 years ago in the good old days of the Williams sisters, the Sharapova, Davenport,
dominating the scene.
Justin Henin and Clijsters. There's so many big names.
Such a fast drop-off. I mean, suddenly like a vacuum created in women's tennis in some ways. I mean, in terms of the more than just one or two, I mean, the household names are lacking. Nobody knows. I mean, not nobody, but obviously it's not well known who's ranking high.
It's unfortunate. We saw Ashley Barty just a few months ago winning the Australian Open and then announcing her retirement. Very sadly, such a talented player. We saw Naomi Osaka winning several Grand Slams and then dropping in the rankings.
Nobody knows what's going on there.
Losing much of her interest. By the way, we're going to speak about Wimbledon next. Naomi Osaka says she's not too interested in playing at Wimbledon because
she's still saying she may not show up to Wimbledon.
Yes, there'll be no ranking points provided at Wimbledon over the controversy regarding the Russian players, and Osaka electing to pass on Wimbledon. I don't know many professional tennis players who would give up on the opportunity to win such a prestigious title.
The prestigious title for any tennis player. Now, with what just happened to the French Open, in light of that, not expecting much different for Wimbledon. I mean, in terms of the competition, again, on the women's side, more of the same. We don't know where this is all headed.
Just to remind our viewers what changes in Wimbledon this year. So the tournament directors have announced that no Russian players or Belarusian players will be able to compete at this year's event, both on the men's and the women's side. As in response to that, the ATP announced there'll be no, and the WTA said there'll be no ranking points provided for the players who do get to participate.
So this is their way to kind of soften the blow of that, even the playing field, saying, look, we're not going to penalize you at large for not being able to come to this tournament. I mean, is this their way to kind of soften that on the Russian players?
It's complicated on so many levels, as it complicates the rankings. You know, anyone, Djokovic or Nadal, if they win Wimbledon, they'll get no ranking points for that.
The
Russians will perhaps not lose the ranking points. At the same time, the prize money will stay as it is. The big trophy of Wimbledon, your name in history will remain. Of course, perhaps with the little star that there was no Russian competition in this year's event.
Time running out as it is, I'd be remiss if I didn't bring up Rafael Nadal in this conversation here now. I don't think he was, obviously we know how good he is on clay, his record on clay. Did you expect him to be standing with that trophy at the end?
Look, we came into this tournament with Nadal losing his last match in Rome. We could barely walk. And there were major questions on whether he will even show up.
If he's finally finished, if he's over the hill.
For this tournament. And Nadal, like Nadal, at Chatrier in Paris, he makes the preparations. He's ready for it, and he really beat all odds. And I think that the odds for Nadal winning it was 1-4. That's the same as Tsitsipas coming into the tournament. Well, he went through several serious hurdles.
Yeah, he was
of
tested.
course,
beating Djokovic.
Beating Djokovic in the quarterfinals. A really tough draw, and just an amazing achievement. I'll just remind our viewers: 14th French Open title, 22nd
legendary
Grand Slam title.